Here we are, episode 8 of the Rare Network podcast. We've got Devryn here representing the Ape Society. We've got Wes, the co-founder of Rare Network, stepping in for the other Nathan, our co-host of the podcast here, which is the first time on episode 8. Maybe we'll make more of these.
Howdy.
Howdy.
What's going on, guys?
Hey, just hanging out. Found this great place, and thank you, Devryn, to the Ape Society for the podcast booth sponsorship. So
It was our pleasure.
yeah, we decided to test this beautiful equipment here that we purchased to use at the event, and who better to do it with than with yourself? So maybe give a little bit of an introduction to the folks who you are.
My name is Devryn on Twitter and Discord. My name is actually Nathan, so I'm doxxed. I am a community member of the Ape Society. I also sit on the DAO Council, which is a group of 9 apes that was elected by the community to represent the DAO, which is a whole separate entity from the actual team. We are an incorporated business in the Marshall Islands. All the legal stuff is done. We're our own separate thing. And the DAO is actually the funding party for the podcast booth, the exhibitor booth, and everything at Rare Evo.
Awesome. Before we go too deep into the Ape Society, I want to know more about yourself. How did you get in the Ape Society? How did you get into crypto in general? Where did this story begin for you?
So I got into crypto in early 2016, mostly Bitcoin and ETH. Just kind of an investment vehicle originally. Ended up riding the wave of the 2017 bull run, thinking it was going to go to the moon, and then watched it all crash back down 90%, like a lot of people did, because it
I was there.
kind of went halfway to the moon. Found Cardano through doing more research as I kind of went down the crypto rabbit hole, which is a dangerous place to go sometimes. And got into Cardano in early 2018. Been around for a while, just buying and holding, because in the early days, that's kind of all you could do. You couldn't even stake. And then when NFTs came out in, I think it was March of 2021 with Space Buds, kind of got into that scene because there was a community there. It was something to interact with more than just looking at your ADA in a wallet. So I minted Space Buds, minted a lot of stuff in between Space Buds and the stuff that came along. I won't mention, but I'm sure some of you out there have minted some of those wonderful projects that are no longer around.
Relics to the blockchain.
They're relics. Hopefully they'll be like
Historical NFTs.
they'll be like ordinals and rare
Yes.
Satoshis.
For now.
You guys keep dreaming. I'll be drinking.
I did get lucky. I mean, I minted Clays and Space Buzz, and there were some really good ones I did get lucky with. I did not mint Ape Society. I decided to go with another monkey project that came out around that time. I won't mention any names, but it starts with Chilled. Because Ape Society had a funny name, and I didn't like it because they were originally called Ada Apes, and I thought it was weird. Can't win them all, guys. But as I did more research and saw what they were building, I got into the project, I want to say like May or June of 2022. And they minted in January of 2022, so a few months afterwards. And seeing their community, the way the founders were building this legitimate Web3 business, I was all in at that point. It was different from any other project on Cardano that I saw at that time. And more have sprouted up since then that are being run more like businesses than just some off-the-cuff JPEG that people just want to show off art, which has its place, but it's just not my thing. And been involved in the community ever since, and just gradually got more into it. And like I said, about a couple months ago, I was elected to the DAO Council representing the Ape Society DAO. And here we are.
That's pretty cool. It's interesting to note that you didn't mint the NFTs and you were able to still get in. Like, what was the cost or floor price when you got into Ape Society?
The first ape I bought was around 3,000 ADA.
Nice.
So it was not. They minted for 99 ADA in January of 2022. Hovered around just below the 1,000 ADA floor for a long time. And then they started to shoot up a little after kind of word got out. And I got in my first one around 3,000. And then I am not a whale by any means in the project. I only own a couple apes. It's just a project I believe in, and it shows you don't have to be a whale to get involved and do good stuff with the project. I sit on the DAO with 8 other apes. Some of them own 200 apes. I'm sitting there with 2, just doing my thing, building the project because I know where it's headed. It's got a very productive long future ahead of it.
Yeah, I feel like that January 2022 mint was like very well timed. Just from a standpoint of, projects having to keep their momentum for so long, an added half year before that, potentially could have made a difference. But obviously you did your due diligence on the team and saw what happened post-mint to spark that interest. But I was definitely navigating like the CNFT scene before that, and it was, there were full teams that do not exist for sure anymore or barely hanging on. And to get that kind of timing, I think, is pretty key. But then again, if you have like a team that has that sacred bond and can get through anything, then, it's a different story, which I feel like is what the apes have in store.
It definitely, the fall, winter of 2021, it seemed like there was a 3 mints a day. People were just throwing everything out there. People were minting them. I was one of them. I didn't mint everything, but there was definitely a lot of stuff I did not mint or did mint that I wish I hadn't. But it's a learning experience. If I hadn't have minted those, would I have dug deeper into projects that are building more and been able to get into the Ape Society? Maybe not. Maybe I would have just called it quits and been done with it.
I call it life's tuition. You have to kind of like spend some money and go through the rug pulls to learn the lessons, and then, it's like you either pay for a college degree or you just go out there and take the lumps yourself, and hopefully, either way, you got to learn something.
Oh yeah, crypto is no different than any other financial industry out there. There's people who are going to try and take your money, whether it's banks or insurance scams or whatever the scam is. It's just newer. So there's people with less knowledge in the industry that can get taken advantage of quicker. But in the end, you do your own research, people. Everyone says it, but do your own research. Find out the stuff. Try to say this. Follow the actions of people. Don't just go on the word of others. The trust you can find in people by how they interact and how they carry themselves, even in the pseudonymous world of Twitter and Web3, goes a long way. You don't have to know their face or what they look like or their name or have their birth certificate to know that they are carrying themselves in a way that it generates an amount of trust.
Yeah, I feel that, and in the same sense, it's like there are some teams that just couldn't weather the storm. Like they gave it their best shot, and it's tough to survive with either ill planning or drama or whatever it may be. But seeing that there are at least a few handfuls of collections that are just insanely strong from the beginning. Obviously, everyone has their ups and downs, but in the CNFT world, I feel like there's 10 extremely strong collections out there that are really rocking it, and Ape's at the top.
We are at the top right now, and for the foreseeable future. I see the stuff they have built, the stuff they have building, not only from the team themselves, but the communities on a whole different level. And we'll get into some of that today, and we'll show off a lot of that because this is a DAO-sponsored exhibitor booth. Our goal is to show off the community initiatives. It's not just Levy and the Plunge and the factory and the landmarks that this Ape Society is building. It is the amazing stuff that the community is building, both around their Ape IP, their own sort of business. It's an amazing thing. And I really think that if, God forbid, the founders were to ever be like, I'm done with this Web3 world, the community would just carry on the same level. I don't see that happening out there for all you fudsters, but you never know.
That's interesting. And let's kind of get into that before we dive deeper into the project. Who are the founders of the project, and what was their vision when it started versus where you're at today, and how is that kind of?
Yeah, where's the team sized up to be from the original founders to now the general team with developers? And I mean, I know that extends to people using their IP for own projects, but as far as the core team, how'd that all come about?
There's 3 original founders of the Ape Society. You have Congo, Matassa, and Cardman. They knew each other pre-Web3 world, met each other, decided to start a Web3 business. It's called the Ape Society. They each have their own individual skills. Matassa is more of the analytic trading mathematician guy. Congo is the business savvy serial entrepreneur, business development guy, and Cardman is sort of the UI UX development type guy. Since the original 3 founders, they have actually expanded their team. So they added Laura, who's now the community manager, and she's a rock star. She handles the Discord, the Twitter, all the project interactions and collaborations, and just the whole gambit of logistical stuff that goes behind running a business.
Shout out to Laura. We'll see you at Rare Evo.
Shout out, Laura.
And then
Great to talk to.
I guess it's been a couple months now, maybe 3 months, that they actually onboarded Avatar Nick as the CTO of Ape Society, and he had his own minting service. He still does. It's called Saturn NFT. Extremely smart guy, passionate, hardworking, and he is kind of the missing piece of the pie that they needed to bring this grand vision of their, and we'll get into their landmark system later, of all the pieces are in place now. And I think we saw that with Levy, which is the NFT lending protocol they just released, where he's actually using Icon, which is a smart contract language developed by some more people who are going to be at Rare Evo.
Lucas will be doing
Lucas and Casey.
Doing a workshop as an instructor.
And they, the speed, efficiency of Icon over Plutus allowed Nick to really showcase the unique features of Cardano over other blockchains.
That's pretty amazing. So the team's actually pretty stacked at this point.
It is.
From inception.
So as we dig into the whole ecosystem, right now there's 4 landmarks available out of a total of 11, and as more and more come online,
Whoa, pause.
Okay.
What is a landmark?
Okay.
What are we, 4 out of 11? There's a roadmap here.
And there's separate road marks for each landmark.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Back it up. What's the whole roadmap here, and when did it come about? Was this something known at the mint? Was this something after the mint? When did the roadmap come about?
So, as I mentioned, I wasn't there for the mint, so I don't know how much was available. I believe that the founders have evolved their vision of the project as the space has evolved. There was definitely, so how they instituted the DAO and they wanted to make sure that it was a nonprofit and it was a separate business, and all this stuff was originally thought of in the project. So they had a vision for certain things of the project, but I mean, Web3, like 1 week is 1 month in traditional finance.
It's 10 years.
If you don't have the ability to adjust, adapt, and evolve as the space is changing so quickly around you, it's probably why we see a lot of these projects not succeed. I mean, even in a traditional world, was it 90% of startups don't make it? In a space that moves this fast, if you don't move just as fast or even faster, you're probably not going to make it. So the project, there's 7,000 original apes, minted in January of 2022. There will only be 7,000 apes, 35 families, 7 classes ranging from craftsmen to nobles, each with a varying rarity. And then of those 35 families, each family has a king associated with that. So there are 35 kings. Those kings have then built out their own family brands. So you've got the Cataldi Guild and stuff like that, where King Cataldi has built his own project around his crown. You've got Slick, who's King White, who's built an initiative around Flipper.io, which is a marketplace on Cardano, and Ghost Chain, which is their NFT project, and a district within the Ape Society map, which I'll get into later. King Rich, which is Shield, has built an analytics site built around his. So each king is even building their own separate brand within the project. After the 7,000 apes, they minted 10,000 cabins, which fit into the city with 35 districts, 35 families, 35 districts. They all kind of interact. And then in March, we minted the CODIS passports, which is Citizens of the Ape Society, which was one of the first SIP68 NFTs minted on Cardano, which in layman's term, old NFTs are SIP25, the new ones are SIP68. SIP68 allows the smart contracts to reference the metadata within the NFT itself, so you can do much more. Think of it like in gaming terms, you've got a game that is blockchain enabled, and you start at a level 1 with a sword, and the sword's at a SIP68 NFT. As you level up, you can then level up that sword without burning it and reminting it. You can change it to level 10, to level 20, to level 50, to level 100. You can change the image, you can change the stats, all of that stuff.
So, and this is just personal interest now. If you have an ape, do you get a cabin and a passport with the ape? Or I need to go buy an ape, a cabin, and I need to purchase a passport?
Right now, you would need to buy all 3. There were definitely perks as each of those were minted. Like I think nobles got free chateaus, and there were whitelist stuff for owning apes when the cabins were minted, but that's long past.
Love that, though. I'm going to have to pick that up.
How many holders is in the collection?
Overall.
That's a tricky question, because you've
Depending
got
on wallet.
apes, cabins, CODIS, and there's a token involved here. I think there's probably like 2,200 ape holders.
Okay.
As you get into the cabins, because there's more, the price is a little lower. I believe CODIS is around 5,000 or 6,000 holders. The Society token, which is the utility token of the Ape Society, probably has a few more.
So it's its own true kingdom with the way it's planned out.
It is.
A digital kingdom, the first, actually. I kind of like this, where we're going here. So then how do the families work? Like if you have a king NFT, you've got nobles underneath you? Are they like guilds within the larger community? Is that how it kind of works?
Unofficially, yes. There's no set system within the Ape Society. So you've got your craftsmen, artist, merchant, explorer, military officer, royal advisor, noble, are the 7 classes. But each family, the 35 families, has their own king. So you can have a craftsman king, an artist king, or a noble king. Well, there's only one of those, but you could have a king of each family. As far as like within the project itself, staking rewards, the kings receive a percentage of all the staking rewards of their respective family.
And is this kingdom like a unified kind of utopia type vibe, or is there like an inner competition? Is it all for the family? Does it all go back to kind of...
There's definitely some competition between families, but it's more like friendly competition.
Okay, all kind of working for a kind of a similar end goal.
There's a greater good, but also like my family's cooler than your family type
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. There's some friendly competition among kings. Some are definitely more engaged than others, and some want to build out their family more than others. I mean, it's just how. And it's funny you mentioned that. So we haven't even dove into the landmarks yet, but one of the landmarks is called the amphitheater, which is a PvP battle royale video game being built actually by the community, which it is the only community landmark where, I mean, families can battle each other, apes can battle each other. It's going to be really cool.
Dude,
There's
okay.
4
to
games.
get some
4 games,
gameplay
by the
on
way.
the
4 games within
presidential
one project right
Yeah.
now, by the way, people.
Hold on. We're going back to these landmarks. So what are the landmarks? There's 11 of them.
In total, there will be 11.
There will be 11. How many are known?
So there's 4 landmarks right now. There's the factory. It's a Web3 incubator where either new people wanting to build projects on Cardano or existing projects can come to the Ape Society, become a factory partner. There's a whole application process, and get mentoring. They have minting partners, can hook them up with artists, devs, whatever they need to start a project on Cardano. Because if people haven't noticed, if you want to, like, who do you go to? You pop into a Twitter space and say, I want to start an NFT project. Where do I go? You're going to get 20 different answers. So they're kind of building that where you can go to them. They've proven they've created a successful project and can carry that on and show you, kind of guide you and mentor you on your way to success. After the factory, there's the plunge, which is the plunge is a stake pool. But it's got a stake pool with a twist. So it's kind of a lossless lottery stake pool. They charge 100% fees, but then every ADA you have staked is like a lottery ticket. So at the end of every epoch, they then draw names and distribute that ADA to the winners of the lottery for each epoch. So it's really cool for, like, you know, everyone wants to stake their ADA, but if you've got 1,000 or a couple thousand ADA, I mean, the 4% rewards on that every epoch when you get half an ADA, 1 ADA. If you have a little amount, it's worth it for some people to maybe forego that half an ADA guaranteed for a chance to win a couple hundred or 300 ADA every epoch. Built within the plunge is the sauna. It's part of the plunge. It's a custom node that people can sign up for, which allows them to bypass the mempool on Cardano. Think of it like buying a gold pass at Disney World. You get to skip the line that everyone's waiting in. Sure, you still got to ride the same roller coaster as everybody, so you still have to verify everything on chain, but you can skip the line.
Love the incorporation of the stake pool.
Yeah.
We're getting excited to do that with our collection, and we haven't even got there yet, but it's like bringing me back to the days of before we even had like a purpose from like an event standpoint of how we could gamify our stake pool, and then we went heads down into the rare event side. But that's incredible to hear, because I don't hear many other projects doing kind of a, I mean, multi-layer stake pool incentive.
And it's great for the NFT people because they've got a lot of NFT people have a lot of their ADA locked in NFTs. They're not getting staking rewards for that. Where they, you could put it in a stake pool and get your, like I said, get your half an ADA every epoch guaranteed. Or, let's roll the dice a little. Let's see if I can win that 100 ADA or 200 ADA or whatever it's going to be that epoch.
Or bigger as it grows.
Or bigger. So as it grows, there's only going to be 10 winners max up, and every 500,000 staked is an extra winner. So once you reach that 5 million mark, you're only going to have 10 winners. But once you get to 20 million, 30 million staked, those 10 winners just get more
and that's
more.
What you could have 200, 300 delegators for 10 winners. That's still pretty good odds.
Yeah, those are pretty good odds.
It is.
Yeah. That's very interesting, especially
The
with every 5
plunge
days.
in the sauna. Okay, I'm gonna have to get a wallet spun up for that. I love that.
The sauna is really cool. It's
So those were we're on number 2 there.
that's number 2.
With the plunge and sauna.
Sauna is built within the plunge.
Within the plunge.
So,
got it.
I mean,
Is
you guys
there
run a
any-
stake pool. You've got a block producing node and a relay node.
Right.
They were using the relay node as a private node with a max number of participants to be able to skip that min pool.
And that's open to the public. You don't have to have an ape to delegate to that pool.
Every landmark is open to the public. Anyone who owns ADA or society or whatever is
So these are not ape restricted.
they are not.
Is there anything that is ape restricted?
The DAO?
The DAO itself.
You have to own an ape to be a member of the DAO.
Totally makes sense.
And from a society token standpoint, when it comes to the pool, is there any sort of incorporation from?
There is. So you pay for the sauna with society. It's
Okay.
a subscription. We'll get back to the benefits of the landmarks and cabins a little later, and I'll tell you how society is all incorporated. But let's stay on the landmarks.
Let's stay on the landmarks for now. Okay, so
back.
as you're telling me that these things have actual utility for people and may potentially bring in revenue, does any of the revenue return to ape holders?
Yes, but we'll get to that.
Oh my God, I'm getting so excited. All right, what are the other? What's the landmark?
So landmark number 3 is the amphitheater, which is when they revealed their landmark system, they chose to let the community vote on one community landmark. So everyone submitted their proposals, what they wanted for a landmark in the amphitheaters, what won. It is a video game, like I said, PvP, Battle Royale style video game where you can play as your ape, and weapons are designed by people who have donated society for bounties to create those weapons. So it's a community landmark completely utilizing the community. So they submit bounties in society for people to create the 3D assets, the swords, the shields, the axes, the spears, to test the gameplay to make sure stuff doesn't break when you play it, to test maps, to create lore, to develop the wallet integration, to do all that stuff. It's all paid in bounties in society. It's still in development. It's playable. It's a modded game from Mountain Blade Bannerlord, which is available on Steam. It's one of those games that the devs of the game kind of incentivize modding, kind of like Skyrim back in the day. I don't know if you guys played Skyrim, but
Yes.
you could mod the heck out of Skyrim back in the day. It's Mountain Blade Bannerlord is sort of the same style, where people can create their own world based on the game code. There's a World of Warcraft mod. There's a Game of Thrones mod. Well, in this case, there's an Ape Society mod, where you're playing as an ape with your own custom weapons and your own custom avatar and your own custom world. And it's really cool. And like I said, they're utilizing the whole community to help build this project. The 4th landmark was one that was just released probably 6-7 weeks ago. It's called Levy. which is an NFT lending protocol. There's a few of them on Cardano now, but the ones before Levy were like peer-to-peer. So if you had an NFT, you could say, I want a loan for this NFT. I want to put it up for collateral, and you kind of set all the parameters, and you listed it, and you hope someone came along and gave you a loan for it. Levy uses pooled lending, similar to how some ETH projects do with fungible tokens, right? So you have an NFT in a project that's listed on Levy. You want to borrow some ADA for it. The lenders can put their amounts that they want to lend for that in pools, and then compete. The lenders compete against each other for the highest offer, the highest lending offer for that NFT. So if a person has a Clay Nation NFT and they want to get 1,800 ADA for their Clay Nation NFT because they want to, ape into the latest meme coin, or there's a hype mint coming up and they need a little liquid, you get into the website, you connect your wallet, you click a button, and about 30 seconds later, the ADA's in your wallet.
That's pretty cool. Okay, so we're building NFT lending platforms, we're building gaming, we've gamified the pool,
Physical assets.
Physical assets. How do you know anything about what are the next landmarks? They just come as they come.
The 8 founders are so tight-lipped about that. I've tried to get the alpha out of them.
I kind of like the lore there.
They won't do it.
I kind of
They don't want to get front run. There's
smart.
So you got Levy V2 coming out, and there's all sorts of assumptions over what V2 will be and everyone thinks it's going to be fungible token lending as well, sort of like Wi-Fi and stuff. Mm-hmm. We don't know for sure. It's all speculation.
Check out Alchemix at Rare Evo, and then please, somebody build it on ADA. Please, somebody build me non-liquidatable loans on ADA, please.
So Levy's not liquidatable. You don't get, the person actually has to foreclose on you. So if it falls below a certain amount, it doesn't just automatically go away.
But the lender can close you out and take that NFT.
But you can buy Pro with Society and extend your loan if you want.
And whoa, so there's like a little, and what's like the interest on one of these loans?
So the team set all the interest and terms of the loans, which helps with the pooled lending. So, and it simplified the process. So if you've ever tried to use any of the other lending platforms, it's, you could get one policy. So we'll go with apes, and you go in to get, you have an ape and you want to get a loan, and there could be a dozen different loans at different interests, at different length of loan period, different terms, everything. And you're like, okay, which one's best? You got to get out your calculator and do all the math on it. Levy simplified it with just some clicks of a button. So they set the interest rate of each project based on floor price history,
volume,
what's going on in the project, amount of holders. They had a bunch of different metrics that they set for each one.
And those got to get reevaluated every so often.
They do. So they've added and removed projects solely based on floor price recently.
What happens if I had taken a loan or given a loan on a project that got removed? How does that work?
The existing ones are fulfilled within the loan term.
Once they kind of leave it open.
Yeah, but you can't create any new ones.
Correct. Got it. That's cool. Okay.
So if you have project X that some whale sold 200 of them, and the floor price dipped way too low, that loan is still valid until the term is up. No one's going to be lending out any ADA for new loans.
And I'm assuming if the floor prices drop that low, all those loans can get foreclosed on, liquidated.
The borrower is probably not going to pay those back. They're going to use it as a way to get rid of the project.
Oh, a way
but
to
the thing
get
is,
liquidity.
the lender's setting the lending offer, so you can set whatever LTV, your loan to value that you're comfortable with.
Okay.
So if you have a
So are lenders stuck then? Like if you lent on a project, that how do they get their liquidity back on that?
you'd sell it on JPEG Store, you'd own the NFT, and maybe you want to be in that project.
Oh, or you might just be
It
receiving a
has
portion.
rarely
of
happened,
Yeah.
but I mean, so if an NFT's floor price is 5,000 ADA, and you're comfortable setting, I'm spitting all over this, so you're gonna edit that out, right? It's the beer. So we'll start over. So if a project's floor price is 5,000 ADA, and you're comfortable as a lender with your LTV being at 3,500 ADA, so you set your lending offers at 3,500 ADA, and you could set 10 of them at 3,500 ADA. And I'll tell you the best part about that in a sec. And then you just wait for the borrowers to come to you. Of course, you're going to get people that are always trying to front run, and they're going to, you see it on JPEG Store all the time. A project, one NFT will have like 20 price changes in the last 2 weeks because someone's just trying to get the ADA for it. So they just keep lowering the price. It's kind of the reverse effect there. But how I do it personally is I set LTVs that I'm comfortable with, where if this person decided not to pay back the loan for whatever reason, the floor price dipped, which is rarity because if you set that's a big dip, or maybe they got into SNEC and SNEC didn't go to the moon fast enough for them and they lost money and they can't pay it back. I'm either getting a project that I want to be involved with at a discounted price, or I'm able to take that lower lending offer price and be able to sell it as a collection offer or list it on JPEG Store.
Love that. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So you kind of use it as a way to like bid on projects at a price you'd want to get in.
Yes, yeah.
You're like, if it's at 5,000 ADA right now, man, if that would fall down to 3,500, I'd buy one. So let's just go ahead and lend it out.
Lend it for 35. Either you get the project you wanted at 3,500 ADA, or they pay it back and you get
made a little money.
Your whatever your APY on that particular project is.
Yeah.
The best part about lending on Levy though is, so I don't know if you guys have heard of Franken addresses with Cardano. So Cardano is kind of split with a stake address and a spend address. Everyone has their own separate things. Well, it has been used for bad things in the past, but it's actually a feature of Cardano that can be used for good. So Avatar Nick, what he decided to do is when you lend your ADA on Levy, he separated the stake address and the spend address. So as your ADA is sitting in a pool on Levy, so say you have 10 loans out at 3,500 ADA, so that's 35,000 ADA that you've got sitting in pools on Levy, it's actually still being staked in whatever stake pool that you always wanted. So you're not missing out on.
You're still getting rewards on ADA
still
you lent out.
Very key.
That's pretty key. That's major.
So you're still getting all those rewards as it's sitting there. Now, when someone takes the loan, of course, it's in their wallet now.
All right.
But you could fill up, 10 loans on Apes at whatever price that Apes are. I think it's probably around 4,500 on Levy, and you're still earning your staking rewards as long as no one comes along and takes it out.
That's a beautiful thing. Other chains.
It is a feature of Cardano that, like I said, has been
Let's
used
say
for
that.
some bad things in the past. But it's there for a reason. Staking, liquid staking.
Staking where you don't have to give your native token to somebody else. It's a
Liquid
thing.
staking.
Question. Okay, so now that I'm so hype here that I want an ape, tell me how my ape, going back to this because I'm such a financial person, so don't hate me if I am, how does my ape earn from all these different projects?
So the ape itself does not.
Okay.
Owning. So
And
there are different benefits to having an ape.
can't be, it could be too good to be true.
So
but
we're
this
going
is
back to the
reality.
cabins on this.
Oh.
So when they did the cabins, they had this whole map with 35 different districts, right? And the cabins are all in your, depending on what cabin you have, is in one of these 35 districts. Well, in that map of those districts, there are 11 of them with landmarks. So if you own a cabin within that landmark, you then are eligible to receive rewards from the revenue generated from the landmark in that score.
It's like the
corresponding
serfs.
district.
Yeah, they like live in a district and they like work at a landmark, and so they like earn some pay from the landmark or something.
So yeah, and just to go
The cabin,
so
the cabin.
so
My
Levy.
house.
We'll go back to Levy because it's the latest one, and it's definitely the most successful as of yet. In July, I think they did 5.5 million ADA in volume, and I think around 31,000 ADA was of the fees was for the cabin holders in the Coat Wolf district.
Can we get a round of applause on that, or a rocket ship to the moon? What do
Let's
you
go,
got, Vinny?
baby.
What do you got, Vinny? Okay. We had to make up for that womp womp.
So if you own a cabin in this Coat Wolf district, which is where the levy resides, you receive a portion of those rewards. Now there's I think around 250 cabins in the district, but there's 3 different levels of cabins, and then it's your proximity to the landmark itself within the district. You could look at that right here. I'll show you later. You can edit that out. I'll show you the map later. So you're.
By the way, great to be here in person.
Yeah.
This is a first for those who haven't tuned into the past 7 Rare Evo podcasts here. We are here in person. Shall I reveal our location?
Yeah.
We are at ESOTERIC Brewery, in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Beverages.
Yeah, beverages. This is
Yeah,
a
Vinny.
nice little summer shandy here.
yourself useful.
Tasting delicious. But yeah, all happen to be here in one place, and it is a great thing. Got a hell of a AV setup, and just acknowledging the situation because this is unique to our podcast. We absolutely want to make it
A thing.
more of a frequent occurrence, without a doubt.
And we got this wonderful living wall backdrop here.
is beautiful.
It's totally real.
And just wait, we actually are going to stay pretty consistent with the podcast booth at Rare Evo, sponsored by Ape Society. We'll have a ton of podcasts. We're trying to sneak ourselves in. We have to have our own podcasts, whether it be after hours or whatever it may be. But it's a beautiful thing to kind of stay true to our words of, yes, there's so much value online, but being in person makes things special. This is a very special number 8. And now that we're not distracted by the things in person that we're witnessing, that the viewers can't see, we'll get back to it. But I just wanted to recognize that.
That was a great mid-roll.
Exactly.
Shout out ESOTERIC for allowing us to take over. So back to it though. So the cabins in the district, you need the cabins to be in the district of your landmark.
Yes. So initially, the cabin was it was designed as a way for the society token to be emitted. So you stake your NFTs. Each cabin, you've got cottages, estates, and chateaus. They all have different levels of frames that they can support, different slots.
I'm just trying to be a serf out here in like a cabin.
Yeah. And you stake your
Gotta be a
ape
noble
or any partnered NFT in those frames, and you earn society for that. It's a way for the society token to be emitted. But those cabins actually reside in those districts, and if you have a cabin in a landmark district, you receive a share of the revenue from whatever that landmark generates.
Is
So
that an ADA or more society
it's
token?
in society. So we'll use Levy as an example. So they did 5.5 million in July, 31,000 plus was generated in the fees to be distributed to cabin holders in that district. The Ape Force One, which is the founders, they're called Ape Force One. They then take that ADA, because the fees are in ADA, of course. We don't have Babel fees yet. Charles, when Babel fees.
Yeah.
the fees are in ADA, so they then take the ADA, that 31,000 ADA, they go on to MinSwap, they buy Society, they then distribute it to the cabin holders in that district.
So they're providing buy pressure with the fees
Yes.
that come in. They're the buy side of pressure on
Part
the
of
DEXs
it. There's buy side and there's burn
as well.
mechanics as well. So there's 700 million Society. There will only ever be 700 million Society.
Hopefully they're not using Musu Swap.
No comment. 700 million Society. There will only ever be 700 million Society. But so as we get into the frames, so to stake your ape in a frame, you have to mint that frame, right? And there's frame levels from 0 to 7, and they have different multipliers that you receive more staking rewards for it in Society. This is all in Society. So if you mint a frame, as you mint more, 100% of the Society used to mint those frames is burnt. When a project mints on Factory, a portion of that project is mintable in Society. Some of it is distributed back to the cabin holders in that society, that
Landmark district, yeah.
Part of it is burnt. They minted crests, which was just like this kind of cool art project within the like family crests of the 35 families. All in Society, 100% burnt. I believe we're down to, out of the 700 million, I believe we're down to just over like 520 million left that will ever be created, and it's about 82% emitted right now.
So what happens if it all gets, how does that work? I know Charles doesn't like burning tokens.
Well, that's cool. Charles doesn't run the Ape Society.
True. I'm just wondering, like, how does that work? Because it sounds like
I
you
feel
burned
like
a lot.
tokens is
We burnt, I don't know what the number is, 150 plus million.
Yeah.
Well, the emission curve, which you can see here, we'll edit that later. The emission curve decreases over time, slowly going to zero. Think of it sort of like the Bitcoin halving curve. It will always approach zero, and yeah, the Bitcoin halving will eventually reach zero, and then fees will take over at that point. But I don't know what year that is, like 2150 or something like that.
It's pretty well thought out here.
Yeah. So the curve at the very beginning was a very steep curve up, and then it reached phase 2, was a very steep curve down, and then it has now leveled out in phase 3, where it's just kind of slowly going to zero over the next 15, 20 years or whatever.
I like that, and it'll slow down as it goes.
Yeah, and then like Bitcoin, Society is divisible. There's like 8 decimal places after it. So sure, eventually you're going to be getting 0.0001 Society for your ape that's staked 12 years down the road, but hopefully by that time you're also only paying 0.000001 Society for whatever you want to pay for.
Makes a lot of sense. I like it a lot. So I love how this all kind of comes together. How do the passports fit into everything?
Yeah, getting back to some physical utility apparently occurring at Rare Evo.
Yeah.
What's going on?
So do the NFT passports work with the physical passport?
I don't know. Let us find out.
Sort of. So the CODIS passport, the Citizens of the Ape Society, is this, like I said, a SIP 68 passport that creates perks and benefits for the landmark system. But at Rare Evo, we actually made actual passports that you're going to get at the Ape Society exhibitor booth and be able to take around to various booths. I'm not going to tell you which ones. You're just going to have to go to all the booths and find out which ones have stamps. You get it stamped, you fill it up, you bring it back to the Ape Society booth, and then you're entered in a raffle to win this amazing prize wallet with tons of prizes.
I love how it's like beyond a POAP, like you actually have to do something physically, get something physically verified, and then you get your clout.
Yeah, each booth that we've partnered with will have their own little stamps.
Because it could just be scan a QR code, and then you could share that with your friends. This is a nice added layer.
To the physical.
They are actual paper, leather-bound passports with actual little stamps that are put into the paper.
And when, like, how would you go about collecting those? Where pick up at the booth your passport?
So you pick up the empty passport at the Ape Society booth, and you just visit all the booths, and you ask them, "Do you got a stamp for us?"
I love it.
Some of them will have stamps. Learn about the projects, get a stamp, fill it up, bring it back, and hopefully you can win a big prize wallet.
I have a feeling that's going to be really popular. If you don't know where I'm at, I am running around filling out my passport.
Yeah, there's a lot of creativity when it comes to the booths, but that one you're expanding to other booths for your booth engagement.
With the Ape Society.
Yeah. It's good.
Gotta hide those ideas.
It's good networking.
No one copy that. You will be called out.
Yeah, you will be called out.
No, but that's amazing. Getting people to go booth to booth on behalf of your society, that's innovative. And then we also, apparently there is going to be a presidential suite party that we can plug here. Don't know if that's incorporated to the passports.
It is not. It is incorporated with the DAO, I guess, because you have to own an ape to go to this party. But we will be having an ape meetup at Rare Evo in the presidential suite of the Gaylord Rockies Resort and Convention Center, open to all members of the Ape Society that hold an ape. So some adult beverages, some pizza, some music, some fun, some society. Have a good old time in the presidential suite. They've got an open air balcony. It's Colorado. Take that as you will.
Full bartender as well for those who don't partake in the Rocky Mountain High. But yes, that's something we're looking forward to. I think we had a luncheon planned in.
We did like a grill out originally.
Yeah,
but
we
I love
switched it up to something a little classier and a bit more of a party. I think it's going to be amazing because Friday night's what I'm most excited for. We have Chris Calico headlining Friday night's after party by World Mobile, but the Apes are definitely going to be nice and pre-gamed.
Yes, and you don't miss out on anything. So this is scheduled at 5:30.
Yeah, this is essentially your dinner alternative.
It's after the exhibitor booth are closed, but before the after party. So you can get your passports filled at the exhibitor booths all day, go grab some beer and pizza, get a little pregame in, and then head on down to the after party. And the after parties are going to be sick this year. You guys really stepped it up, didn't you?
This year's going to be wild, yeah. Wes is pretty proud of Friday night. I think the EDM night on Saturday, we've been jamming out to a lot of the DJs while we work the past few weeks, to be honest. We listen to all the music. Thursday night, Cullah, we have definitely been listening to Cullah's music on the road. We were jamming some Cullah's music in Dubai. Sent him a little clip of that while we were cruising from the road. So we're excited. Some community stuff, some national acts.
Cullah will be Thursday night with a full band. That's industry night kickoff. So that'll be really like where all the exhibitors, sponsors, and VIPs.
Got to have a VIP ticket.
Yep.
And there will be security. So test us.
We're enhancing security this year. But shout out to the people that try to social engineer. We do
it too.
We've been there. But no, I would say Thursday.
Web3 people would never do that.
Thursday night will be Cullah industry night. Friday, we've got an Ape Society presidential party pregame before World Mobile's Friday night. It was hip-hop, and now we've kind of mixed it up. So it will be a mixture of hip-hop and some like ethereal, trancey, with vocals, amazing music by an artist named Daisy Doom. She's amazing. And then on Saturday, we've got another after party open to the general attendance. That'll be electronic night. We've got DJs from MetaMask, Doge Pound, Avagachi, Italo Prism, AI scholar. So that'll be kind of the way we close it out. And I think the most high energy, but I think Friday is going to be when people let loose the most.
Yeah.
Probably. I just like how there's a little something for everyone, whether it's rock or hip hop or EDM or whatever. It's
blues, jazz to kind of electronic, weird, retro, ethereal to hip hop to heavy. I would say like a little bit of old school dubstep, to be honest.
Like some house
to
music.
some nice housey, trancey music. So
it's all in there.
A little bit of everything.
Yeah, it's definitely all in there.
So holders, DAO members, Ape holders will be able to jump into that presidential suite. I think we'll have some entertainment up there. Rand, you stayed up there with your wife, and apparently it's pretty nice. I didn't get to see that one because we didn't have it last year.
Pretty epic.
But,
Theater room at the wet bar, very nice. Very nice.
So get your passport stamped and make sure you get on that list. There's only 40 people when it comes to capacity.
Yeah. Use code TASK10 to get 10% off ticket.
Yes,
this is true. Tickets are getting up there. Book your hotel room. Hotel room block got extended. Was supposed to close today. It goes all the way through the end of the week. So definitely get the hotel room.
All you procrastinators, you're welcome. And it's okay to be last minute. We do it too on the road all the time. We get it.
Yeah. So I went last year. Let me tell you guys, this place is, there's what, 5, 6 restaurants?
5 restaurants.
Yeah,
from
there's a big bar
steakhouse to
too.
Italian to barbecue to pizza. There's a pool. There's although we didn't get to use the pool last year because it was later in the year.
Yep.
So it's nice that you guys moved it up this year.
The lazy river outside is going to be a highlight. Unofficial gathering Sunday. So when everyone's just completely out partied and out networked, you can just cruise down the river and choose to socialize or just
and still network.
Sip your tropical drink.
Put your shades on and tell people to not talk to you.
So even though the event's officially only Friday and Saturday, you got 4 days of fun, really.
Yes.
So you've got like Thursday industry kickoff party, golf outing with D Golf, and then Friday and Saturday's exhibitor booths. Sunday you've got Lazy River. It's really cool.
We are definitely excited for this year. All the last minute stuff is coming together. So I think we're there.
And for the Cardano folks listening, definitely take a look into what Input, Output, Emergo, Cardano Foundation have going on from a workshop standpoint. You can be a social butterfly or you can be a tech wizard and go heads down in a Hydra masterclass. I think this is the place to be in North America. Obviously, we have the Dubai Summit coming up, which will be amazing. But if you're around and you want to meet with that core community at really every level, whether it's partying, networking, being that Web3 professional that you either are or aspiring to be, we've got options. And I love that little soundboard action there, Vinny. That got me hyped.
Why am I not hearing the soundboard? I feel left out here. Do it again, Vinny.
I mean, at least I'm tripping.
There you go.
That's Calico right there. Get ready.
I'm ready.
So this is Friday night.
Let's go. I'm excited. And the apes are going to be turned up.
The new cut hits different by Chris Calico.
I love that this is in the podcast. We have to do this way more.
Yeah, the soundboard, Vinny.
Yeah.
Love it. We need a virtual soundboard, man.
Yeah, we do. We definitely do. Is there anything we're missing about the Ape Society? Any announcements coming up?
No, I mean, we got Levy V2, but we didn't really even get into all the community stuff, which will be showcased at the exhibitor booth. But, yeah, I mean, it is the DAO, which is the community. So, I mean, we're going to have video games, comic books, magazines, actual books. Carver has his project called Apes on Canvas, which is real oil paintings of apes in like Baroque style frames with gold leaf on them. The amount of community initiatives within the Ape Society is just astounding to me. And we're going to be trying to show them all off. It'll be a challenge, But so the stamps in the passport is actually were designed and printed by Fat Jace, who has a project that he built from within the Ape Society called the Stamp Collectors, and so those are showcased within the passports.
Yeah, because I remember seeing like the digital version of it, and someone stamped it from like a Solana collection or an ETH collection.
So we want to talk about CODIS too. I guess we can.
Yeah, yes. I think so. I mean, that's what. So and we're talking interoperability. We're talking multi-chain.
So the CODIS passports are SIP68 NFTs on the Cardano blockchain, but you can link an NFT from VeChain, Cardano, Solana, or Ethereum. The passports kind of are your trip around the city, the landmarks. So as the more you use each landmark, the more benefits you receive for that landmark if you own a passport. So the plunge, that's the stake pool with the lottery system. You receive increased percentages to win the lottery the more epochs you're staked in the plunge. If you don't own a passport, you get your 0% chance, whatever that is. The more you stake, you can level up the stamps in your passport to receive an increased chance up until, I think, 30 epochs. You get your max, your percentage chance. I think it's 7.5% extra chance to win at 30 epochs.
There's so many layers.
And if you own,
to the society.
Yeah, if you own the CODIS passport, you level up your stamp to get that 7.5% extra boost at 30 epochs. If you've got a golden passport, your max level stamps from the get-go. There's only 500 of those, so go get them now. With Levy, it's reduced fees on the platform. So I think it's 1.5% fees on loans with a level 0 stamp, and at level 3, I think it's 0.75%. But again, like with the golden passport, you get the 0.75
right off
the get, and you have to use the platform to get up to that. So it's like once you have 10,000 ADA or X equivalent of loans lent or borrowed, you can get up to level 1, and then there's I'm having a brain fart here. There's a level to get to level 2. There's a level to get to level 3, and once you meet those parameters, you get the extra discounts. But if you have the gold, you get them off the bat.
And that's the beauty of being able to update the on-chain metadata.
With SIP68, you just update the passport.
So we got gaming, community, artwork, passports, landmarks, cabins, estates. What's the one on top of that?
A DAO treasury.
A DAO treasury.
That we haven't even really tapped into.
It sounds like
no, the
DAO.
The DAO is, like I said, it's its own separate incorporated entity in the Marshall Islands. We went through the legal process. We've got a certificate of incorporation. We're a licensed LLC in the Marshall Islands, nonprofit corporation. And the DAO's primary mandate is to empower the community to create their own projects, to hopefully create revenue for the DAO, whether directly or indirectly. So we funded this Rare Evo thing, this podcast booth, the media booth, all of that. There's no direct revenue from that. It's about showing off what the Ape Society is, empowering the community from our exhibitor booth, letting everyone know that the Ape Society is here to stay. We're a force to be reckoned with. Bear market be damned. We're coming strong for Rare Evo, and generating revenue indirectly through showcasing our brand. More are definitely more direct. We're funding a video game called Societas, which is and I can't remember the name. It's sort of based off a board game. What is it? Catan?
Catan.
Ruins of Catan.
Yes.
What is the name of it?
I think it is like
Catan.
Yeah, Catan.
I've always heard it.
It's sort of based off Catan, but with an ape twist. And you're minting cards and all that good stuff, and then a partial part of the mint revenue goes back to the DAO. The latest proposal, which is really cool, so there's a video game that's live on Steam now called Caveira that was developed by community members, completely regardless of the DAO or anything. They just did it on their own because they liked the project. The lead dev for that project does a lot of the 3D assets, and he's wrote a DAO proposal which just recently got funded so he's going to teach the community how to create 3D assets in Blender and stuff, hold contests for varying stages of those assets, and then rewards them in society for winning, and then we'll implement those assets into the game that's live on Steam. So a new guy who's never created a 3D asset before can learn how to do it from some guy who knows how to do it. If he wins, he gets paid for it. And not only that, he could have it featured in a game on Steam within weeks of learning how to create it. How often does that happen? You learn how to create a house in Blender. How long till it's in a game on Steam?
Right. Could be never if you're just sitting in your basement like me,
Yeah. So
I actually like that a lot better than some of the AI generated things. Like, obviously it's a tool to use things to build.
has its place.
But it's like you are obviously building someone else's skill set to give them an opportunity in a project, depending on how much they fall in love with learning that skill, as compared to just like, hey, I guess you could definitely train someone on operating a prompt for an AI that creates in-game assets, but you're definitely going to get a little bit more character out of something that requires like human effort and hours of manpower.
For sure. And the part I like about it best is, you've got this small game team, 2 or 3 people. He's now utilizing 50 people in the community to create assets for his game, teaching them how to do it and rewarding them in the process. I mean, that's Web3 if I've ever heard of Web3.
It goes so deep at this point. Like, we've gone down a very deep rabbit hole, I feel like.
Yeah, and I'm just going to take it back to where my head's at when it comes to the DAO voting, and just the ability for, the founders not to be completely in charge of decision making for
They have zero input
campaign.
into DAO voting. It
Yeah,
is
because
complete. Now, I don't want to say zero.
skirt.
Now, I don't want to say zero because they do hold apes, so they get a vote,
Right.
but just like everyone else does.
What other proposals have been voted on from the DAO besides the Rare Evo podcast booth?
So the Societas game, the Rare Evo podcast booth, we actually funded Carver, which I mentioned, the apes on canvas. So he's gonna make a one-of-one ape on canvas that has a kind of like a hodgepodge of different traits in the project, and he's going to give it to Charles at Rare Evo. So it's going to have a flannel shirt and a beard and make sure we've got the 2 pins in the pocket and all that good stuff.
That's awesome.
There's been lore writing contests that have been funded. Other community initiatives. There's a community initiative called Grape Ape Debate, which holds Twitter Space AMAs every week, every 2 weeks, where they bring projects on and ask questions and sort of detail what each project is, and not even tasks associated, just projects in general. There's so many, I'm having trouble thinking of them all.
Fresh beer here.
Good sir. Some little esoteric beer
Reload.
here.
He's coming.
Out of the
Say, what am I,
Cincinnati
chopped
Ohio.
liver? The relevant data who wrote the interactive heat map of the city, with all the districts and the corresponding landmark percentages within that district, received some money from the Dow. There's a ton of different, and people write more all the time, and we go through them, and we.
Does Taz rely at all or have any catalyst proposals out there?
Great question. That's a great one.
And of course, I had to cough them. It's
Perfect.
because I need
And
a
for
beer and
those-
my mouth is dry.
And for those who are new to Ape Society and the Cardano blockchain, Project Catalyst is essentially a governance system that allows people to submit proposals for grants. That basically comes out straight from the layer one treasury.
does. So the Ape Society actually does, thank you, sir. The Ape Society actually does have a catalyst proposal out. It's actually to create a new Cardano wallet that focuses more on DeFi and NFTs. They have proven themselves to be able to write successful dApps within the Cardano system. They're very in tune with the needs of people who use DeFi as well as those NFT whales. And I don't know if you guys have ever tried to use a wallet with 1,000 or 1,500 NFTs in it, and you get a lot of those UTXO errors. What is the one on JPEG Store, the spin limit UTXO error, where you've got to send ADA to yourself to be able to do a transaction, which is not a real good user experience for someone who's just got into the blockchain. So they wrote a proposal to create a Cardano wallet that fixes, it'll be a single address wallet, fix a lot of the UTXO errors, better processing, easy to use, looks good. There's a lot of wallets out. I'm not going to mention any names in this. There's a lot of wallets out there that are great to use that don't look the best. There's other wallets out there that look great that don't work the best. We need something that everyone can use, whether it's on desktop, on mobile. I personally have 3 different wallets under the same wallet, same seed phrase, everything, because some work better on some dApps than others. Of course, you need a wallet on mobile because certain wallets that work good on desktop don't work on mobile. So you've got 3 different wallets for 3 different uses. It's nonsense. Let's create one that works well for everything and just go with it. And they've proven they can do stuff. I said let them go with it. I'm all for it.
I love that. That's a great proposal. I definitely have played with multiple wallets on Cardano, and they each have their own positives and negatives, and it would be nice if there was like one to use.
Yeah, you can hodgepodge them together and create a great wallet. Well, let's do that. Let's create a great wallet.
Yeah.
Because when this bull run comes, you want, first off, you go into Discord and you have some new person joins and goes, I'm new to Cardano. What wallet do I get? They're going to get 8 different answers, first off. You don't feel good giving them any answer because, like you said, some of them are great at certain things and horrible at others. Mm-hmm. Some may work great, but it looks like a bad VB software written in 2002. So we want something that's cool, that's sleek, that's simple to use. And the challenging part is sometimes it's even more challenging coding all that stuff into simplicity, where it's click button and it works, with all the heavy stuff on the back end. Because at the end of the day, this stuff needs to be grandma proof, right?
Yeah.
To receive that mass adoption, people don't care. Most people don't care about the tech. They want it to look cool. They want it to click buttons, and they want it to work.
Yep.
And that's how you receive the mass adoption. They want it to just work.
Take a look at the Catalyst proposal somewhere. We're in the,
let's put it over
in the
Rand's
description above.
Yeah, we'll put it in the description below. You guys have Catalyst proposals too, though, right?
We have a few.
We do. We've got 3 out there.
Chill them.
Essentially allowing SPOs to join our travels, create media surrounding that SPO's mission, as well as showcasing the value that we extract out of these blockchain conferences worldwide. Ran myself, Evan, and the greater team. We attend around, I would say, 7 events a year. We always plan for a quarterly event, and then we go above and beyond and get FOMO and jump to others. But that's where the majority of the business is taken care of. And so that particular proposal, which is the largest ask, allows us to bring 2 SPOs out per trip, minimum, per quarter, with the film crew, lodging, travel, as well as a side event all covered, where we'll continue to spread, the value of Project Catalyst and utilizing grant programs on blockchains, as well as, like I said, highlighting that SPO, stake pool operators, particular mission, whether that's philanthropy, to build a protocol, to run a lottery giveaway, etc. So that's the first one. The second one.
And on the first one, that's also part of this podcast gear that we purchased here for the travels and the trips.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about the first one for a second before you move on.
Yes.
If people don't know, Cardano has, 3,000 plus stake pools now? Mm-hmm. All varying from, there's ones that are completely 100% charitable. In essence, they're all small business operators, right? They're all running their small businesses. And anyone who's ever run a small business knows sometimes that marketing type money is just not there. You're putting everything you have in the small business. Something like this is invaluable to this stake pool operator who's helping decentralize the network, who's running a small business, who's trying to do everything for themselves, that just doesn't have that extra little bit of money to go out there and show off the cool stuff.
That's exactly why we're doing it. And excuse me. That's exactly why we're doing it. And it hits home personally for us as a business, because when we started our stake pool, we ran into an issue. I was doing a little bit of the marketing. Wes was our tech wizard over here. And our pool broke down. It was early days. There wasn't that much documentation on it. We couldn't figure out how to fix the pool.
Lost my wizardry very quickly.
And we decided, power of live events. We practice what we preach. We went down to Bitcoin Miami. I was like, Wes, let's go to Bitcoin Miami. I promise we will find somebody in the industry that can help us fix our pool and get it back to running. And lo and behold, power of live events, we're fighting over a couch in front of the bars at Bitcoin Miami in like the one shaded area you could go. And we were sitting down with Epoch Pool.
Shout out Alonzo and
Alonzo.
Nick.
Yeah, Alonzo and Nick. And, we didn't think anybody would ever bring up Cardano. And we all kind of look at each other. We just, nod, decide to share the couch. And as we're chatting, it's kind of like, Cardano? And they're like, Cardano? And we're like, Cardano.
Formerly Bear Pool.
Yeah, formerly Bear Pool at the time, which, shout out, I like the name Bear Pool. It's a bear market. They could have done really well if they would have just stuck with the Bear Pool ticker. I'm not going to lie.
I just love what the SPO community is doing. I mean,
yeah. And we met a
and
lot
this
of
is going to be
while we were there.
Yeah.
And I think that's the key part of all this is we
Nerd
go around
Pool, Swag Pool, Bloom Pool, Bear
Pool
/ Epoch and Rare.
Yeah.
We're all there at that Bitcoin Miami.
And that's where the idea for, Rare Bloom and our events came in. That's where we really started to put the building blocks together of, okay, we have this stake pool, but what is our business? What's our mission behind the stake pool? That all came from visiting live events and then the power of building our business around that, and all the networking we've done to grow these past 3 years has all been from going to live events. And we have noticed there's a lot of pressure on stake pools. It's very hard for them to market. Twitter's pretty saturated. So it's like, how can we help those people do the same thing we did? How can we get, 2 at a minimum stake pool operators to come on a trip with us, market what they're doing, what their mission is with their stake pool, and then also get them in front of the greater industry where they can learn about what else is going on, where they can network with other builders in their space and ecosystem and stuff like that. And I think it'll really accelerate a small business similar to the accelerator, the factory you guys have.
Yeah, no, it's perfect. It's a way for them to get out there and shake hands with someone who may really be able to take them to that next level that they don't know until they can get there and shake those hands.
Yeah, I think we've definitely helped lessen the barrier for like acclimation to live events and how to navigate them. We've had a solid amount of experience. Rand and I have definitely done a lot of business travel in our Web 2 days. But there's definitely a certain way of going about navigating and strategizing around these live events, and you get that kind of natural feel. But a lot of people it's totally foreign to them.
Overwhelming.
And so that's one of the missions, is to, not only prove the value of going to these events, but also, in a sense, showing people the way of, how to get into the side events, how to navigate an expo hall, how to get work, done in between, and then also spin up all this content. So we'll have a full film crew. As the SPO, you'll be interviewed for that mission. We'll do, shared content essentially throughout that, including the side event. At the side event, your SPO will get some exposure, get the ability to jump up and present in front of the side event crowd alongside, ourselves, potential partners, and additional sponsors to these events. So we do really feel like there's a nice recipe. The budget's fair for a full year with essentially 6 people per trip to cover everything. And I think it can do a lot, not only for the SPO community, the overall Cardano ecosystem, but as well really showcase the power of Project Catalyst and be able to deliver on that extremely, I would say, with a short turnaround time, being responsive and pushing that content out day of capture. So while we're on these trips, your social medias will be shared with ours. We've worked really hard to get a following, and some of these SPOs may have even
larger than ours.
So
maybe
they could be. It's a win-win for everyone involved, and I think we're also going to put on for Catalyst and promote how much potential there is for partnering with multiple organizations within Cardano, and then going out into the world together and networking with people inside and outside of that ecosystem. So that really touches on, I feel like, that particular proposal, and that's the one that we're aiming for most, and that I think is most key to our business, and as well as the folks that will be involved.
I feel like it's the most community impactful one that we have. And, like with the Ape Society, and what you said, I feel like we've really proven that we can build. That we've done side events in Dubai, we've done side events at Consensus, we've done all the traveling, we're building this business, we're buying the equipment, we're doing it regardless. It's just, can we include more of the community on the path with us? You know what I mean?
Got to empower the whole community to succeed, I think.
That's the plan.
And it's hard doing stuff by yourself. You got 1 million people behind you. It makes it much easier.
It's a lot more fun with everybody.
It's more fun with friends, people.
Yeah.
And for those who do have Catalyst proposals, come to Rare Evo and state your case.
So the timing for that
advocate
is
for what
perfect.
you're doing. Voting is
the
31st.
Of August.
So the event runs till the 27th. That'll be on the 27th. We'll all be chilling in the lazy river. But following that is going to be the final push for campaigning for these proposals to get the votes required to get approved and start distributing the funding and starting to meet your milestones.
I wonder how many people are going to be there handing out pamphlets or little buttons.
It'd be smart.
We've definitely got some people.
This is a campaign, people.
Think of how many whales
I
are
want to
walking
see
around.
pamphlets and buttons from people who have proposals out there.
This year is
That
going
would
to
be
be
awesome.
interesting because there's going to be a lot of people. You know, we have a lot of booths. The booth map is almost sold out. We had to expand the original format, but there's a lot of teams that have chose to just street team it this year.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Join, get VIP, so you have all the, you know, access to all the networking areas, and you have the food and beverage, so you don't have to leave for 20 minutes or, you know, an hour at a time to go get lunch. But like, there's a lot of people that have chose to just come like very heavily with their team and run the booths, you know, rather than being a booth. I think the booth, you always have an advantage, but there's people that are being lean with their marketing budgets and would rather have an extra team member there or two to go and distribute their swag to the booth, pitch their, you know, partnership ideas, et cetera. So I think that'll be really cool to see this year in comparison to last year.
I wonder, like, if there's a slot open in this podcast booth that the Ape Society sponsored to hold, like a Shark Tank speed shill sort of space
Speed pitching.
with catalyst proposals, like give their elevator pitch.
We could do
We
something.
should
do, like,
definitely do something
Quick
surrounding
fire,
that.
like 10 minutes. Show us, just get the word out there. Since
can 100%.
everyone's gonna be there.
We can make this happen. I need to think about it, what channel it's going to be on, because our main channel will be running the main stage, but it's never too late to start a secondary channel.
Especially
Anyway, we're
with
going to need one.
Especially with the big dogs like
Cardano over coffee
Regard.
might be able to incorporate that.
Yeah,
Super
they've been
early
doing their
morning.
catalyst over coffee every morning since. So that might be something
That's a
we
good
just
conversation.
incorporate in their Twitter space.
Yeah.
Bringing up Epoch Pool.
Yep. Yeah. Throw all the way
He
through.
is the
that.
founder of Cardano over coffee.
I was in the space when it was just me, Epoch Pool, and Hero in there, kicking it off.
2
So,
years they've been doing that now, isn't it?
2
Something
years,
like that?
man. Every
Every
day.
Monday through Friday.
I try
for
to
2
tune in as
years.
much as I can from work. I'm amazed that they've crushed the whole.
Which kind of brings up a good question. Is there a community ape space that you recommend?
There's a lot. There's
Great question.
actually, we can get into this. So the founders of Ape Society just released another initiative called Ape Dynasty, which they are distributing 50,000 ADA to people creating content related to Ape Society, whether it's Twitter Spaces, YouTube Shorts, whatever it is. That is not 50,000 for one person. That is split over 30 weeks or whatever. So each person is getting a little bit of rewards, and it's voted on by the community. There are tons of ape spaces. I don't know. So Cardano Shield hosts probably 3 or 4 times a week, usually late at night. CB hashtag, I think is his name, just started doing spaces again. But
What about my man L?
Some of that
So
unpopular
L
opinion.
does-
He's repping the apes.
L does spaces all the time. He used to do, so that was a DAO proposal as well, where we had L, and I don't know if you know Chronic and Chrissy. So L and Stock Trade, and Chronic and Chrissy and Gully had their own spaces that ran 12 weeks, and the DAO actually paid them to run those spaces for the 12 weeks. So there's no real coordinated ape space, but if anybody has been on Cardano Twitter, and this is for all you space junkies out there, they're all ape spaces.
I love that.
It's a common question. Is this another ape space? They're all ape spaces.
It's hard to avoid the ape PFP in a Cardano Twitter space. We had ours Monday, had over 1,000 people tune in, which
There were
was
definitely some apes down
kind of our goal, but
The
I don't
apes
know. We
are
didn't really
everywhere,
set a
man.
goal.
The apes are everywhere.
And yeah,
there.
endless ape PFPs.
I think this has been quite the amazing podcast. I think we definitely need to do another one maybe after the event, kind of discuss what happened at the event, how much fun we had. I'm sure there's a ton of stuff we missed here or haven't got to. Anything you think we need to hit on before we wrap it up?
Man, I could talk about apes all day long, but what are we at, like 2 hours now or something?
I have no idea. I've had so much fun.
I've lost track of time.
Hour 30.
That's not too
Beautiful
bad.
thing.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a great
I could talk about apes all day long. I'd like to bring on some guests at some time if we did this regularly, and even if they're remote, and talk about, like I said, there's so much building. If we want to just get into apes, there's so much building within the community. It's hard to even touch on that in a podcast. I mean, there's 3 dozen different projects building within Ape Society using their IPs. I mean, I'm wearing a hat, which is merch, but not Ape Society merch. This is a guy within the Ape Society who created his own merch line built around the Ape Society. That's the kind of stuff we're talking about here. I mean, it's crazy when you really dig down into
decentralized
it.
IP.
Yeah.
An IP that it doesn't seem like you're begging people to make. It seems like
No, they want to do it. They want to do it.
Yeah.
Because they're able to utilize that very strong community to kind of kickstart their business, because they're so into what other community members are doing that you have this already established thing, and that's very hard for small businesses to start up and have this community that's already there willing to. Oh, cool! That's cool. Let's get that.
Yeah.
Whether it's an NFT mint or a hat.
It's a strong community where a rising tide lifts all boats.
Yes.
Yeah, and if you're Ape Society and have any ideas for Rare Evo, definitely reach out to Devryn. Devryn will relay that to us, and we'll make it happen. We'll
put our Twitter handles in the comments below.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And make sure you get on that list for the Prezi
party.
And this will be on
suite.
YouTube, and no one said this yet, but like, comment, and subscribe, people. Rare Evo's not free, but that like button is.
True.
Yes, we're building ourselves out beyond an event company, and we've got a lot in store. And this is just the beginning. So honored to have some of the best in the game, that being Taz, the Ape Society. Thank you, Devryn.
Thank you for having me.
Shout out ESOTERIC for the location and beer. Cheers, gentlemen. Cheers.
Cheers.
Episode 8. See you later.
Just clean the Dodge, better get in. Drop top.